Okay, in the name of science, I'm outside a supermarket buying commercially produced sourdough and white bread that the majority of the population eat. What I'd like you to do is put the kettle on, watch the film, have a think about what I said, and see if you want to engage in some system change, because as you're going to discover, we need to. Let me know what you think. In December 2025, San Francisco filed the United States' first government lawsuit against food manufacturers over ultra-processed foods, arguing that corporations profit while communities bear the cost of diseases linked to ultra-processed foods. Finally, people are waking up to the tactics used by the food manufacturers that mirror those of the smoking industry. It's remarkable. It signals a shift that has been a long time in coming. But let's be honest, it will take years. Legal action moves slowly, and the food industry is an expert in delay tactics, which is precisely why we cannot wait for the system to change itself. So now is the moment to show you that there is another way when it comes to bread. What I'm inviting you to hasn't been done before, perhaps with good reason, because over the past 120 years, our connections to the way we evolved eating bread have been systematically broken through the industrialization of, well, our most basic food. And what we've ended up with is a broken system. A system that aligns with big food and big pharma, and it's been hijacked for profit. Now bread matters because it's still our staple. 99% of people in the UK eat bread, and the large bakeries produce 85% of the bread in the UK. And at every point, each part of the system has been damaged and compromised. Our soil is being degraded. The closure rate for UK farms has reached its highest point since the Office for National Statistics data began in 2017, with over 6,000 farm closures in a single year. Pan UK reports that a cocktail of pesticides are being used in our bread. 50% of bread tested contained 2 or more pesticides, and that's a jump from the previous decade average of around 25%. Unapproved pesticides are in over a third, 47, of the identified pesticides in bread, and they're not approved for use by British farmers. Often they are entering our bread supply via imported wheat. Now we have mandatory folic acid, fortifying all white industrially produced flour. Now this is concerning when you factor in the fact that around 89 to 91% of all flour for bread and dough products is the refined white version of flour, and that's according to industry reports and DEFRA data. Finer milling breaks down the grain's natural structure and the cell plant's walls, and this increases the surface area of the starch, making it much more accessible to your digestive enzymes. This leads to faster starch hydrolysis, glucose absorption into the bloodstream. This is where Diabetes UK is estimating now that more than 5.8 million people in the UK are living with diabetes. That is an all-time high. We need to consider how our flour is produced and the impact that has on our health. Now, the good news is that there is a growing market share in sourdough. Sourdough's presence as a new product has launched and jumped from about 6% in 2015 to 15% now in 2021, showing some strong innovation by the industry. However, much of this bread is being industrially produced using refined white flour and short fermentation, essentially producing another ultra-processed version of sourdough. It's a marketing tool, and it's stealing from the artisan sourdough movement and our reputation for producing wholesome bread. And it's fooling people because most people still believe that they're eating healthier bread. They're not. It's just clever marketing. This kind of bread does not transform into more nourishing food because the nourishment, well, it was never there in the first place. When we reconnect the system, the gut microbiome becomes central to our health and our wellness. The gut is far more than just digestion. It's a complex ecosystem, and the function of your gut profoundly influences your immune system, your brain function, your metabolism, and your mood. Almost all non-communicable diseases have been linked to gut dysbiosis. That's an imbalance in the gut bacteria, and your gut produces vitamins, it regulates energy, it produces your neurotransmitters for your body and your brain to function correctly. And what does it use to make these compounds? Fibre. And what we know is that the wider the diversity of the fibres that you eat, the wider the range of microbes that you have in your gut, and the more robust your health is. But here is the frightening truth. Research funded by the National Institute of Health and Care Research showed that ultra-processed food makes up almost 2/3 of calorie intake in UK adolescents. This isn't just that it's food with high levels of added sugar and saturated fat and salt, but they have significantly lower levels of fibre, protein and micronutrients. And what's more, numerous studies in animal models and humans suggest that food additives that are used in bread, known as cellulose gum, E446, which is widely used in the food industry as an emulsifier, CMC or carboxyl methylcellulose, can harm the gut by disrupting the gut microbiome and potentially increasing intestinal inflammation and permeability. Day in, day out, most people are not reaching their basic levels of nourishment. It's not just about a fibre gap, it's about impacting our cellular function. Now, if you think about the gut as a pantry for cellular function and start to look at our methylation and our detoxification systems, what becomes clear is that there are cofactors that are needed for our basic functions, and they are missing, not just from the refinement of flour, not just from fast fermentation, not just from the degradation of our soil, but in each and every single part of the way in which we approach bread. The result is catastrophic. It's a breakdown in our health, both mental and physical. And each part of the system is being pushed to breaking point. Mental health is in crisis in the UK. The National Office for Statistics reported that suicide rates for males in England and Wales are at their highest since 1999 and the highest rate for females since 1994. And the findings from the Mental State of the World report show that the United Kingdom ranks second worst for mental health in a recent global study. So who is benefiting from this financially? Certainly not our farmers or our families. When you stand back and you look at the bread making system, there's a handful of multinational corporations that control the majority of seed, pesticide, chemical inputs, and that underpins the UK industrial food system. They include Bayer, Syngenta, Corteva, BASF, who together control a whopping 56% of the global seed market and 61% of the global pesticide market. Now, these firms have roots in the chemical and pharmaceutical industries. Bayer began as a dye company, then pharmaceuticals, and then agrochemicals. Syngenta originated from Novartis and AstraZeneca's agrochemical divisions. Now, these companies supply the agricultural and raw materials used in industrial bread, the wheat, the fungicides, the herbicides, and the seed treatments. Now, this creates a system structurally aligned with big pharma and big chemicals. And even if it's not a single conglomerate owning everything, this is the structure. Now, Bayer, the German life science giant, acquired Monsanto, the controversial US agricultural biotech company, for $66 billion in 2018. To put it in perspective, Bayer's research and development expenses averaged about $6.7 billion annually between 2020 and 2024. The system is broken, but it doesn't have to be. What we need is a system reset. We need to understand and value bread, and it needs to be restored to its rightful place. It's a food that, when made with the connections restored, could be considered to be our evolutionary partner. And from a functional medicine point of view, it can be seen as a food that biohacks our system to optimize our health. And this is what proven bread is. It's a system reset. When you bring your values and transdisciplinary knowledge to the table, and you understand that bread is a fibre delivery system, and that fermentation is upscaling the nutritional value of the grain, unlocking minerals and vitamins that act as cofactors for the way our bodies work, it changes everything. So what I'm inviting you into hasn't been done before, because for over a century our food system has been fractured by industrialisation, and we ended up with a model that aligns with this big food and big pharma that's been hijacked for profit. Proven bread is the antidote, a complete systems redesign, restoring connections from the soil to the grain, from the millers like Homidods and Josiah Meldrum and Nick Saltmarsh, to the gentle fermentation by Peter Cook's bread. And it restores connections to farmers like Henry Astor at Bruin Farm, who refused defiantly to accept the status quo. And you do not have to bake. We do that for you. We send you the bread, and your only task is to enjoy proven and pay attention to how you feel as the weeks unfold during the course. Every 2 weeks, handcrafted, long fermented, proven bread arrives at your door. It's ready sliced, 24 slices, 6 grams of fibre in every slice, and more than 30 different plant ingredients. 18 hours of live, cultural, real sourdough fermentation using hand-blended stone ground flour from regeneratively farmed British grains and botanicals, and there is no synthetic fortification. Each week, you join me live. We have 12 one-hour sessions supporting your weekly tracker as we explore what happens when you eat bread created for your biology rather than the industrial bottom line. This programme is an invitation for you to be the system change, because until you engage and you buy the bread, we cannot close the system change loop. Now, everyone said it couldn't be done, but we're doing it. This is a quiet, delicious, determined rebellion, a living example of how we realign the system. Ultimately, it's about changing your understanding, because once you see it, there's no going back. This is a reset of the system, and you are the system. I'm not asking anyone else to do it. I'm asking you.